Howdy-o, what do you know? This is Rabbit of ScrubLeet Academy, and we are back in Dito today, and we are going to continue the monster manual, because we are getting it done. So what are we farming today? Well, it's going to be a very interesting one. See, this is going to be its own standalone video, not because it's going to take a while, but literally because there's nothing else I could really pair this with, so it's just going to be its own thing. So we're going to go and hunt some Rakshasas today. Now, if you were going to ask me what the absolute most terribly represented group in this entire game is, I would have to tell you by far it's Rakshasas. And it's because of the quest we're going to be going into today. So a cry for help is where we're heading today. And this is fascinating. Maybe we won't be going in there just yet. Maybe we won't be going in there just yet. Because there is a dragon here. Nice. Very convenient. And we have destroyed this dragon of ours. And now it's time to steal his treasure box, which is there. That was an interesting find. I wasn't expecting that. But as I mentioned, we are going to be going to a cry for help and farming some Rakshasas. So, let's get right in there. And as I mentioned, this is probably the most hideously designed and hideously constructed quest I have ever seen, partly just because of the contrivance, the plot hook that gets you in here. So let's go ahead and throw these on. So we're mainly in here for Rakshasas, so let's go ahead. I've got all of my pages open, look at that. We want to go ahead and find our Rakshasa entry. So we're almost done, as you can tell. We're at 1659 out of 2400, and by almost done I mean we're getting there, I guess. Now, the major thing you'll want with these guys is you're just going to want to farm out quests that you would normally farm anyway and be done with it that way, because to farm them is pretty unfeasible. I've been in it for 6 years, as I've mentioned in some other videos, and I haven't really gotten all that many of these guys compared to what I would expect I should be able to get. So anyway, we come in here, there's our first one, Zakya Rakshasa Lord. We'll go ahead and just punch him down because he is super easy to defeat. And then we can just grab our key. So there is a quicker way to farm these, but I figured if we're going to run a video about this, I'm going to show you the way that requires fewer resets. Because resetting is just a terrible mechanic that you'd have to, nobody wants to farm wraiths for that very reason. But thankfully, I'll be coming out with a wraith video that is a little bit different and will help you not have to do that. Point being, this is Rakshasas. We're actually able to take down at least 4 of them, so it might actually be a better option for you anyway. And they're pretty few and far between, but as you can tell with our account deed, 1663, they are contributing. Now, these Zakya cultists do not actually count for this, so that's really unfortunate. This will be a great dungeon to farm these things out, if those cultists actually counted. Unfortunately, they do not, but we do have some Rakshasas here and there, so it's not the worst farming session I've ever seen. It's definitely not the worst. We're getting like 1 a group or 1 every 2 groups or something like that, which isn't hideous, but it's not great either. But I figure since this is a standalone video, I'll just kind of show you how things... Ooh, bookshelf. Kind of show you how this dungeon sort of goes, and that these guys are pretty much throughout, so you can actually come through the entire thing if you really, really want to, and just burn through it that way. Now, I'm just going to scoot through all of this and not even bother with that, because we do have a couple of areas down here that we can just get to really, really easily. And I'm going to go ahead and head in there. And it'll give us some more of these. We're almost at the end of the dungeon, but we've got, once again, our trickle-in sort of Rakshasas, which is not great, but it's not terrible either. And all of these are contributing. They're pretty much the same Rakshasas, so I'm going to turn off the monster manual until the end of the dungeon and just kind of go through and get a few more of these guys if we possibly can. And we are coming up to the boss fight now. So we do have a couple to start with. We'll just go ahead and get rid of them. Jailer Koki, so I might as well open that back up and just make sure that he contributes. This one definitely should. That should be 1674 and 1675. There we go. Now we have our jeweled key. We'll let out this Rakshasa, who basically is just sitting there crying, I guess, like screaming out, "Oh, please help me." And that's the sort of dumb part about the dungeon, in my opinion, is the idiocy of that Rakshasa to just sit there screaming, hoping that somebody will find him in the middle of fucking nowhere. But, you know, whatever, they're smart. So anyway, we're at 1678. We should be at 79 by the time we're done here. And it does contribute. So all of these Rakshasa in this dungeon do actually contribute to the monster manual. But I mean, it's still not an ideal farming session, really. Still, if you want a pretty quick and easy farming session that doesn't require a lot of knowledge about certain dungeon mechanics, you just need to be able to avoid traps, really, then honestly, a Cry for Help is probably your best bet. You could go into the Spinner of Shadows if you want and farm the first 2 packs constantly, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend that, just because it would start to feel like the Wraith farming. At least this way, you're doing a dungeon and kind of feeling like you're progressing a little bit more. But that's really all I wanted to show for this video. It was a pretty quick one, all things considered, and it's pretty narrow focus, but once again, I didn't really have anywhere I could really pair the Rakshasa. I've got the last monsters already recorded, so these guys were just kinda on their own. That being said, if you enjoyed what we did today, please hit that like button and share this video everywhere you can, and don't forget to smack that notification button to stay up to date on everything we post here. If you're up for a bit of exploring, I do have a channel on Odyssey, which is a YouTube alternative, where I post my news and probably a couple of other things, probably that won't show up on YouTube, just so you've got a reason to jump back and forth between the two. And you can always stop by Discord, Twitter, Twitch to see what's going on there. Basically, just click everything in the description and go on an adventure. If you know of a better place to farm at Rakshasa, or you just want to say hi, don't be afraid to drop a comment. It would be nice to get a discussion rolling on this one. But that's all I've got to say. That's all I've got for this one. And as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.